Hey, maybe a couple days late here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened with Trump at the Libertarian National Convention the other day. Going into it, I was a little reluctant to, I was skeptical. That's probably a better way to put it, as I was skeptical on why they had invited these other individuals. I guess they were saying that there was going to be a debate. I got a email from the Mises Caucus saying with a link. They were collecting money. You had to pay to get a vote on what topic that they were going to ask Trump, and I don't think a debate, and I don't think that Q&A ever happened. Maybe Trump walked off after all the booing and the little exchange that they had. He eventually mentioned Ross commuting the sentence of Ross's life sentence. If I remember correctly, it was after he had already said, basically we got to vote for him if we want to try to influence anything. He said he'd give us put somebody in the cabinet, and it's like, okay, well, that's not really too important. It's literally no power, and he can dismiss them at any time. And it's like, I mean, do people really think that that not only he, but the Senate is going to approve some nobody for something important? Maybe like they're going to appoint this person as Secretary of State or the head of the Defense Department or something. Like, that's not going to happen. In my opinion, anyway. It's not going to be anything important. And of course, he can dismiss them at any time. It was interesting, though, because he said all that, and then he brought up Ross Ulbricht, and it's such a scummy game, like a true statesman. He leverages the life of another person. His life sentence, he's kind of leveraging in his sales pitch to the libertarians. I mean, I guess to be fair, people have demanded that he be freed, obviously, since his confinement, but it just shows how politics itself it's just like a fancy high-end slave trade of bloody compromises back and forth. And I'm just questioning how many is it worth. I was at least happy that there was a vocal contingent that was willing to speak their mind to Trump. I'm glad there was some booing there when he said some of the expected but kind of inappropriate things. I thought this was going to be more of like a debate format. I thought, I knew that they were going to speak, but I thought at some point we were going to have like a kind of a more roundtable discussion and debate. And, like I was saying, they were charging you. If you go to the link, if anybody has that email, if you go to the link that took you to the page where you could pay to get a vote on what topic to ask Trump, it just takes you to the home page now of the LP. So that's interesting. And like I said, at the beginning of this, I was skeptical. I was kind of thinking, what are we starting to sell out to the Republicans now? Is the LP starting to sell out to the Republicans? And maybe people can still make that argument, but this turned out better than I had expected. We got mentions in the mainstream media, which I'm sure was some of the motive behind this, and in that case, it definitely worked. I'm just glad people were vocal on. In my opinion, it should have been. People might think this is ironic coming from an anarchist, but it probably should have been a little bit more well moderated and professional how the LP voiced their disagreement. Some booing, okay, yes, but okay, now somebody step in. It's time to move on. Let's move to a more moderated type Q&A where you can come up in a line or something. We'll take questions. Is that okay, Mr. Trump? Blah, blah, blah. Probably would have ended better. But I am happy with that turnout in the sense that at least now there will be, and this is basically, in a certain sense, I guess it's more beneficial and more towards appealing towards the left, is at least the left now sees that we do not support Trump, right? We always get kind of lumped together with the Republicans, I think. And in that sense, I guess it was some good press where it was like, no, we don't really get down with any of you guys. We disagree with all of you guys on all types of stuff. So that was good. It was interesting too that there weren't more Trump supporters at the event. I thought maybe he would have drawn them out. They would have came to see him if they were nearby, and who knows, maybe not even that far away. But there was a decent amount of people though. Now, it might have disenfranchised us with some would-be converts who are Trump supporters. That's definitely a possibility. I'm not sure. I guess maybe a lot of people would think those guys are more valuable and more likely to come over to more, quote, extreme libertarianism, but I think that's kind of up in the air. I don't think one or the other type of individual is more inclined. They both believe in freedom in some regards and disagree with it in others. That's just kind of the way statism works. There's always some little piece that you can chip away at, regardless of them being a so-called leftist or rightist, because it's all the same fundamental belief at the bottom. But anyway, going forward, I'm not sure if that was good or bad, but I'm glad it wasn't just like some sort of, we're the Libertarian Party and now we're here to worship Trump. Of course, there's a lot of people out there on the social media websites I'm seeing that are somehow support Trump. They call themselves that. But anyway, yeah, just a few thoughts on that. Definitely turned out better than I had anticipated so far out. Good job. I'm glad we had guys out there to tell him, nope,